I need a boss. I don't know what y'all need, but I fuck with bosses. That's it. Need somebody that's real gangsta. Toy soldier, a real gangsta.
What up guys, Ali here, and welcome to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure to add me on IG at Ali Talks Music, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. The early to mid 2000s was a great time for hip hop and R&B. Ludacris released The Red Light District at the end of 2004, and it came in at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling over 300,000 copies in the first week alone. During this time, Disturbing the Peace was on a roll, introducing more artists to the label as time progressed. One of the label's major acquisitions was a female singer who goes by the name Sharifah. Before signing to DTP, Sharifah was just an incredibly ambitious girl with dreams of making it big in the music industry. I can remember taping the tributes to Smokey Robinson and Gladys Knight that were on the Soul Train Awards. I would be rewinding them all the time, practicing those routines until I knew them by heart. In the same way Patti LaBelle could make the hair stand up on my arms with her voice, I wanted to be able to do the same thing. Evidently, Sharifah had a strong desire to entertain and got to do just that when she met Teddy Riley. Now, Sharifah spent about 3 years working with Teddy Riley. During that time, she learned how to work in the studio. However, she often found herself wondering whether Teddy Riley would pay her more attention or not. Teddy at the time had his hand in other lucrative business ventures, causing him to unintentionally spend less time working with Sharifah. This is how Sharifah felt about working with Teddy. Of course, I was definitely aggravated because I thought the songs and things that I was doing wasn't being seen seriously. He didn't seem to have much time for me, but it was in the midst of him trying to do things with a Blackstreet guy. I was angry, but I wouldn't change anything because it taught me how to work in a studio and it got me to where I am today. Eventually, Sharifah had no choice but to leave the loving embrace of Teddy Riley and do things on her own. Luckily, fate was on her side as her demo tape landed in the hands of an important industry figure. Somebody called me and was like, Jeff Dixon wanted to get at me, and we met up in New York in Harlem. And I was like, I want to tell you everything about me because I'm not your average R&B singer. And ever since then, me and Jeff have always been cool. The next day, I met Ludacris and Shaka backstage at TRL, and it was on from there. And here we are 3 years later, album done, mixtape out, video is done. Now, after her demo tape got heard, Sharifah quickly became a member of DTP. Early on in her career, Sharifah put in the work and made appearances in a lot of DTP projects. However, as of late, she has not been feeding her fans with new music. So the question is, what happened to Sharifah?
I think that you just have to, first of all, you want to keep God first with anything that you do. And it's tough, you know. I'm not gonna say that it's easy. It's tough, but you have to be very strong and grounded, you know.
Around 2005, DTP released their second compilation album called Disturbing the Peace. The album was a success and was created to bring light to the other less known acts at the label. Sharifah, being new to the label, made an appearance on a song called I'll Be Around. With I'll Be Around buzzing in people's ears like the blades of a chainsaw, Sharifah was finally ready to release her debut album. According to the singer, she was heavily involved in picking the beats and played a particularly vital role in the writing process. Just really being happy because finally my dreams were coming true, which I had 75% control of my album. From picking the production, writing, I was really having a good time. From going through the industry and learning to making mistakes and learning from it. Around 2006, Sharifah released her first single off her debut project called Need a Boss. When we recorded the record, we recorded out in LA. It was a no-brainer. The beat was crazy. The lyrics was crazy. Once I laid it down, we was like, this the one. We gotta run with it. Especially coming out the fourth quarter, you gotta hit hard. You gotta pave your way through the music industry. Now, when the single came out, it resonated with her core fan base. However, the single did not have a huge impact, only making its way to number 62 on the Billboard Hot 100. After the release of her first single, it was finally time for Sharifah to show and prove. And she did just that, releasing her debut album called Point of No Return.
Yeah, like when I did the album, I'm glad you took it that way because that's what I was aiming for. I was aiming for a classic album. I feel like I got it. You know, I touch on everything. I really don't sugarcoat anything. I try to be straightforward. I try to speak through my music to my audience so they could connect and know who Sharifah is.
When the album came out, it came in at number 28 on the Billboard 200, selling about 40,000 copies in the first week. Now, for a rapper on a major label, those numbers are not that good. In fact, let's compare those numbers to other rappers and singers who released an album under DTP. Bobby Valentino released Special Occasion in 2007, and it came in at number 3 on the US Billboard, selling about 92,000 copies in the first week. Shawnna released Black Music in the same year, and it did about 47,000 copies in the first week. Players Circle released Supply and Demand around this time, and it sold about 23,000 copies in the first week, which also was not good. Ludacris dropped Release Therapy in 2006, and it sold about 300,000 copies in the first week. Now, from the looks of things, it looks like the only artists on DTP that were doing big numbers were Ludacris, Chingy, and Bobby Valentino. And I'm talking specifically about the years 2006 and 2007. Now, if we compare Sharifah's numbers to these numbers, it's clear that Sharifah's album didn't do that well. After releasing her first album, Sharifah and DTP tried to increase the buzz around her album and released her second single called Cry No More. As the title suggests, the song tells the story of a woman who has experienced so much hurt at the hands of a man that she decides to toughen up and stop crying. It had substance, however, alas, the song failed to make it to the Billboard Hot 100, only making its way to number 43 on the US Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart. With the failure of both of her album singles, Sharifah was not granted a third single. In essence, her first album was a flop. But why did that happen? Let's explore. Now, Sharifah's situation reminds me a lot of Olivia and G-Unit. As we all know, G-Unit was a male rap group that dominated the music industry for a while. They truly ran the game before finally imploding from within. During their run, G-Unit was always expanding. It started with just a couple of members. However, when 50 Cent blew up, he started adding more members to the group because he wanted to reach every demographic out there. Olivia joined the group because 50 wanted to tap into the female demographic. She made a little bit of noise on the label, jumping on songs like Candy Shop and Best Friend, but in the end, Olivia had one major problem. Rap labels usually have no idea how to promote a female artist because most of their audience are male. Unlike Olivia, Sharifah was able to put her album out on her label. However, her lack of huge sales are a strong indication that her target demographic was not targeted well. In essence, Sharifah was an R&B singer on a hip-hop label, and sometimes the two simply do not go together. Now, like most labels that existed back then, internal politics played a role in the success or failure of an artist. When an artist joined the label, they were and still are usually ranked according to how profitable they are. In this case, Ludacris was the flagship artist at DTP. Without him, the label wouldn't exist because he not only founded the label, but also sold the most records on the label. Now, one thing new artists tend to realize is that when they join a label that is built around one artist, the flagship artist, they quickly realize that most of the label's resources will be allocated to that artist. They also quickly realize that they will always be second, third, or even fourth best. When Chingy joined the label, he quickly learned this lesson the hard way, and without a doubt felt like Ludacris was stifling his career because Ludacris wanted to be the bigger artist. Now, I'm not saying that Sharifah's career was stifled, but it looks like more could have been done to promote the artist. For example, has anyone noticed that the features on her debut album aren't necessarily well-known artists? Apart from Ludacris and Bobby Valentino, it doesn't seem like much money was spent on getting features. Now, if you think about it, Ludacris, Sharifah, and Bobby Valentino were all signed to DTP, which means that if Sharifah really wanted a verse from Bobby Valentino and Ludacris, she probably got it for free or at a lower cost. That's one of the benefits of having talented artists on a label's roster. Now, if Sharifah got Ludacris and Bobby Valentino on her album for next to nothing, then technically the label didn't spend much money on features. It's a smart move for the label because it allows them to keep the cost low. But the problem is, new artists need all the help they can get. And if they're not getting good features on their albums, then most people won't even check for it. In essence, if the project had better features, more people might have checked for her project. Now around 2010, after not doing well on her first project, Sharifah returned from the abyss to drop a mixtape titled The Misunderstanding of Sharifah.
Well, right now I have a mixtape out that you can get on thatpiff.com, livemixtapes.com. Just Google my name. Just put The Misunderstanding of Sharifah. A whole mixture of things, top-notch producers from down Canada, track masters to everybody. So.
A project specifically created to keep herself relevant, because at this point it seems like the label had not given her second album a release date. I released it in 2010 because I felt my fans needed to hear more music from me, being as the album still did not have a release date. And I wanted to continue to give my fans more music from me. And what's better than free music? Now around 2010, there was a glimmer of hope for Sharifah. After the failure of her first album, it seemed like DTP still had faith in her and released her first single of her next album titled Should I Stay.
But I just shot the video to my first single off the album, Should I Stay? Should I Go? Ladies, you know, talking about a situation where do you keep messing with your baby father, or do you go with that side flame? You know what I'm saying? Have your cake and ice cream and eat it too. Or do you stick around with baby daddy and try to make it work for the kid, but be unhappy at the same time? Not me.
A not so successful song that deals with relationship problems. Sharifah went on tour to promote the album for a whole month. And with all the work that she was putting in, it looked like Sharifah was finally about to release her second album. But alas, it never came out. The plan was to create and finish The Secret and get it out to the fans. That was the plan. At the end of the day, it looks like Sharifah didn't have the ability to move major units. She had a chance to blow with her first album, but failed miserably due to facts already discussed in this video. Although she didn't have much success with getting her project out, Sharifah was still signed to DTP around 2012 and released a single of her upcoming project of the same name called They Gon' Learn.
No face, but it's about time that they learn. Go hammer in this bitch.
I'm finishing up the mixtape They Gon' Learn, putting out some exclusive videos, and making Sharifah a household name by building my brand. Evidently, Sharifah's plans for global dominance did not quite work, as her new mixtape never saw the light of day. Even though Sharifah has been elusive as of late, it looks like she still drops music. In fact, she dropped a song called OK in 2020. As far as her relationship with Ludacris and DTP goes, Sharifah is still on good terms with the team and claims to have burned no bridges with DTP and Ludacris.
It was dope. It was really, really dope working with Chris. It wasn't hard. You know, he is a fan of my music still to this day. So I think it was good, you know. Overall, it was great working with him.
So your personal relationship is still in good terms?
Yes, absolutely,
okay.
With everybody at Disturbing the Peace, yeah.
If you want to book Sharifah for an event, her booking information is available on thebash.com. According to the site, Sharifah sings at proms, weddings, and happy hours amongst others, and can be booked for a mere $500 to $2,000. Sharifah seems to be somewhat active on Instagram. Or maybe not. She goes by the name Gotrifa and has about 10,000 followers. In essence, Sharifah's career failed to take off. Her first album didn't do well, causing her career to take multiple hits as the years progressed. As of now, she says that she's 100% focused on making music and plans to put more out, but from the looks of things, that's not true. Sharifah gets about 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and her most popular songs on the platform are Boy Bye, I'll Be Around, and Hey Babe. That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Sharifah in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have any video requests, be sure to let me know as well. New What Happened To video dropping next week. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.